President Trump not slowing down in his first week back at the White House, to say the least. He's ripping through a new round of executive orders on AI and crypto. And this was intriguing, releasing the long-awaited JFK files. Trump also sitting down for his first television interview with Sean Hannity.
They're
all solvable problems.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately. But they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever. I think we got there just in the nick of time. But they can't govern, and their policies are terrible. I mean, they don't want to see a woman get pummeled by a man in a boxing ring.
No.
They don't want to see men in women's sports in other ways. They don't want to see them, and they don't want to have transgender for everyone. They don't want a child leave home as a boy and come back 2 days later as a girl. A parent doesn't want to see that. The Democrats don't use common sense.
And as he gears up to visit wildfire-ravaged California tomorrow, President Trump is putting the pressure on Governor Gavin Newsom on some things he'd like to see done to tame the flames.
Will you meet with Gavin?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Look, Gavin's got one thing he can do. He can release the water that comes from the north. There is massive amounts of water, rainwater and mountain water that comes due with the snow, comes down as it melts. There's so much water, they're releasing it into the Pacific Ocean. And I told him, it's a political thing for the Democrats.
One of the things that bothered me about the Biden team, Greg, is it felt like there was nobody there who really wanted to solve problems.
This is, I was writing this down. Yeah. It seems like a lot of the things that Trump is doing feels like low-hanging fruit. But in order to solve these problems, which seem simple, you have to think of them as problems. They never saw men competing against women in women's sports as a problem. They didn't see a porous border as a problem. And they didn't see crime as a problem, or the homelessness and drug addiction on the street as problems. So they had no incentive to solve them. So all of these problems suddenly to Americans are like, wow, this is pretty obvious. Yeah, you seal up the border, you put bad guys in prison, and you get guys out of girls' locker rooms. So the challenge isn't solving the problem. It's getting rid of the incentives that had people not solve it. Why did they not solve it? Take something like racial politics. Like, we were at a period in time in America where we were optimistic about race relations. This was probably about 15 years ago, until we weren't. Because racial division was incentivized financially. People were making money off it. So what you have to do is you have to look at what is incentivizing people to be a problem, eliminate that. You can't solve problems with identity politics, because to solve problems, you got to work together. And identity politics says, no, we have to stay apart. I'm different, you're different. Myself is more important than the group. But as an individual, you can help other individuals. So you can either lose with identity politics, or you can join with your brothers and sisters and win.
And remember, too, Judge, when we were asking, like, we would ask in a poll, what keeps you up at night? And all of those are Harold.
Baby.
Yeah. So all the things that keep you up at night, but the worries that people kept them up at night. And how would you solve them? And I feel like he's speaking directly to those issues.
You know, it's like when he talked about, the country might not have come back if he didn't win. I mean, I happen to agree with that. And I think most Americans agree with that. But it's like a renovation. You need a blueprint. And the president has a blueprint. And his blueprint is America first. And he has an optimistic outlook. He's conversant, and he is absolutely glib. I mean, he can talk about the economy and inflation and the border wall. And he can talk about, national security and crime, as well as the environment. I mean, this is a guy who's got in his brain so much that he can pull to make sure that he creates the country that our founding fathers intended. And, to me now, the radical left is put on notice. Don't do any of this nonsense anymore, because this is a president, and you're going to see a lot of people running for office going forward who are going to adopt his mentality of common sense and not nonsense. We're not going to put men in women's sports, and we're not going to open the border and not give you a reason for opening the border. It was crazy. And then Gavin Newsom, I mean, he doesn't want the water, the rainwater, the snow that melts, that comes from the mountains, to go into Southern California. He'd rather go into the Pacific because of the smelt. Now, you know, I didn't know this, but most people don't know what a smelt is. I cook smelts all the time.
You do?
I did.
Are they good?
I'm shocked.
Are they delicious?
They're delicious. They're little fish, and you batter them up. And then you deep fry them. And I'm not Italian, but I make the 7 fishes for Christmas Eve. And I use smelts because they're easy. You just
Wow.
throw them in the deep fryer.
Good thing Biden's not in office anymore. They might come and arrest you if you're cooking up the smelt. Harold, I think one of the problems for Democrats right now is that you have President Trump framing things not as Republicans or rhinos or versus the Democrats, but as, well, this just makes sense, right? This is just common sense. So then how do the Democrats figure out a way to fight back against that?
Well, let's be clear. He's been in office, president now, for less than 96 hours. So this is we got a long way to go here. The president made a lot of promises during the campaign, and I'm one that hopes he can deliver on every one of them. He then reiterated or enumerated all of them or many of them again during his inaugural speech. I think the fundamental thing that most people who voted for him, particularly independents and Democrats who voted for him, is they want to see the economy transform for the benefit of everyone, not just the rich and the connected. Democrats, to Greg's point, there were things that Democrats didn't see as a problem. 2 of them, one was the cultural issue around transgender and little boys and little girls playing sports together and bathroom sharing. Democrats, for some reason, it didn't dawn upon them that could be something that would resonate with voters. And 2, the border issue, Democrats, I know we're going to deal with in the next segment, the Democrats should understand all the images that people are seeing across the country on our network and local networks across the country with people being deported who are criminals, this worst first policy. That may be the best thing he does, and the thing that will bring and help keep that coalition he won with together more than anything else, at least in the short term. It'll give him some leeway if he makes some mistakes in other areas. But this is what happens the first 3, 4, 5 days. People are very excited, and I would agree with you, Dan. I don't say that to push back on your proposition, which is, how can you be against the things he's talking about? Who does not want more jobs in America, more high-paying jobs in America, safer America? The question is, can you do all of those things by executive order? Can you do all those things just by putting your hand on the table? Do you have to go over or putting your fist on the table? Do you go over and try to work with people to try to get it done? I hope he gets it done whichever way he has to do it.
Jesse, do you feel like the people of California are relieved Trump's coming tomorrow?
Well, I just want to know, is smelt salty? Is it like an anchovy?
No, it's little, but it's not really salty, not at all.
Okay.
That's why you slap it in the egg and the flour and you put
You got to
salt
make it taste
after
like something else.
This is the thing on California they're protecting?
Yeah.
That's right. So, yeah, Greasy needs to turn on the faucet. That's common sense. And Trump's just solving all the problems Biden created. Did you know that Mexico is building tents for Mexicans? Mexico's like, what do we do with all these Mexicans? It's going to be a homecoming, Dana. Maybe we could have a king and a queen. Bad hombres are getting iced across the nation. You guys just touched on it about basic economics. You lower the price of energy, it lowers consumer prices, it lowers inflation, the Fed drops rates, mortgage rates follow, and then young couples can buy homes and have lots of babies and live the American dream. Did you know the price of oil was $110 under Joe Biden? Now it's at $77. We're back to work. We're not collecting checks in our pajamas anymore. DEI is gone. And I know Harold knows this better than anybody. The S&P just hit fresh highs. This AI investment, it's not our money. It's their money. We're not printing it to then pick winners and losers and hand it out to Intel. We're just having them do all the heavy lifting for us. And he's doing it with a stroke of a pen. Remember, Biden said, I need Congress. I can't do anything without Congress. No, he needed a little common sense and he needed some caffeine. And it's fun to watch the Democrats and the media completely broken and just getting rolled over. Thank God. Look at what this government is capable of. I'm invigorated.
We all.
I am invigorated, Greg.
You got to look at the ratings. Like, nobody is watching those other channels because they're like, you guys lied to us for 4 years, so we're not watching you anymore. They're going away.
RuPaul's Drag Race is beating CNN.
Well, it's quality
Are we
programming.
beating RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yeah, but you know what? Both
Okay.
Jake Tapper and Jim Acosta are now going to do it in drag, just to
To
compete.
try to, like,
Then I would watch Jim Acosta.
Yeah.
It's it's a stunt.
Yeah.
We'll try to see. Wait till you see what we dress up Greg as tomorrow. All right, up next, criminal migrants aren't taking President Trump's immigration crackdown very well. Watch this guy.
I'm not going back to Haiti. Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Bill Melugin got an exclusive look at Trump's ICE raids.
Watching you watch the sun going down, that's what my world spins around. Well, I finally get it now, and they say you know.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.